Nationally right now, there's somewhere between 30 and 60 days worth of inventory. So it's still very much a seller's market.
Welcome back to this week's episode of Change and the Market. I'm your host today, Kevin Shamala, and joining us is CEO of the Masiello Group, two-time best-selling author, and noted industry trendsetter, Chris Masiello. Thanks for joining us today.
Hi, Kevin. Good to be with you.
Thank you. And so as we get close to wrapping up the great year of 2023, what I thought would be fun for us to do today is dive into some of the most commonly asked questions in regards to the housing industry and real estate for our conversation today. And that would naturally get us into a conversation about what we can expect moving forward into 2024.
Yeah, perfect. Sounds fun.
And so the first question that's common that we typically see is, so home prices are going down. Should I wait to buy?
Well, I'm not actually sure what planet that question comes from, but home prices aren't going down. And, nationally, they're going up, regionally, like our year-over-year sales prices were up 12%.
Well, there you go. And so that actually leads into the next two questions that we frequently see is, and you can answer this together or separately, what is a buyer's market and what does it mean to be in a seller's market?
Yeah, that's a really good question. There's an actual technical answer to that. And the technical answer is if your inventory turnover rate is below 6 months, like you have 6 months supply of inventory, then that's a seller's market. If it's north of 6 months, then it's a buyer's market. Nationally right now, there's somewhere between 30 and 60 days worth of inventory. So it's still very much a seller's market. Right. But that's that. Now, that's an old axiom. As we start to get out of this, 2023 cycle into 2024 and beyond, it'll be interesting to see how that adjusts. But that traditionally, it's been the 6 month mark, north or south.
That is great. It's good to know that is actually a technical thing. I think a lot of people relate to that being a feel thing, right? Like, I feel like it's a buyer's market. I feel like it's a seller's market, but it's good to know technically how that breaks down for agents. And then the most commonly asked question, I think I've seen this probably in the last 15 years or so, and I still hear about this constantly, is when will the housing market crash?
Yeah, well, in 30 seconds, of course, right? But, in all fairness, it has had its ups and downs. And certainly go back to the 2008 time frame, that was certainly a thrilling moment.
Yeah.
But if you go back, like we've talked about in other episodes, if we go back 100 years, that real estate is the second most prolific investment for the American family, right behind, equities, stocks. So ultimately, there's never really, there have been moments in time where the market has done, not as well as others, but generally the housing market has done very well over the last 100 years. So in more contemporaneous language, the housing market's not going to collapse because we simply don't have enough homes for the population that we have. And that's not changing anytime soon. I mean, if we were to start building today at a pace to keep up with population growth and family formation demands, right, which is new families and divorces, remarriages, and all that, we're 7 to 10 years behind. Yeah. So if we build today at full steam, you're call it 5 to 10 just to be conservative. So you could get regional differences because you might have a regional economic issue or things like that. There are parts of the country that, especially from the pandemic, that people moved away from to move to other places. But even like in the city, like New York City, for all the number of people who left, a lot of the office buildings and things like that are being converted into housing, and there's going to be I mean, in relative terms to New York City, relatively affordable housing. So there's not an impending crash.
Thank you for that clarification and answer. And I think that naturally leads us into our, let's say, end of the year closeout for our Change of the Market series, right? Let's leave our audience with information of what they can expect in terms of housing for 2024.
I think this is a highly technical economic term. It's wash, rinse, repeat.
Very technical.
Very good. Maytag would love that. But that's it. I mean, I think that the bulk of 2024 will be very similar to 2023. We'll see interest rates start to taper off as we get towards the end of the year. Inflation appears to be under control, which is good for all sorts of reasons. That also will give the Federal Reserve a little bit more breathing room to feel comfortable, starting to lower rates. Inventory will remain tight. And the economy, I think, is going to remain pretty resilient. You get strong wage growth, and you have good, steady employment opportunities, and so I think, fundamentally, the economy will be good. I think as it relates to housing, we're going to go into the year into 2024 with 2023 dynamics, and they'll change over time. We might see a little more inventory hit the market as people get more comfortable with the concept of making a move with higher rates and then refinancing out later, right, as rates go down. I think that's we're really starting to see people kind of like get comfortable with that. It's like intellectually, like people get it. But there's a difference between intellectualizing something and then being comfortable with it, right?
Yeah.
So you can see people starting to get comfortable with it. And so I think it'll be very, very similar year.
Yeah, and I think that's a great way to close out our episode with the forecast of what we can expect in 2024. Wash, rinse, repeat.
Very technical. Right?
Yep. As we've said in the past, right? If you're on the fence, if you're on the edge, if you're waiting for that curve, if you're waiting for that trend, you probably already missed it. So, so please tune in to the previous episode where we dive into a lot more of that process and strategy. And this will be our last episode of 2023. So we look very much forward to seeing everyone back in 2024 for our first episode of Changing the Market in the new year. Thank you so much for your time today and this year, Chris, throughout these conversations. And we wish you a happy holidays and a happy new year.
Yeah, same to you, Kevin, and same to all of our viewers and the community. I hope everybody has a great holiday. It's been really fun this year with these episodes. So
couldn't agree more. Thank you, everybody.